What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another deep dive, and today we're talking about something that might hit close to home for a lot of you: how a simple zombie game became the foundation for some of the strongest friendships we've ever had. We've all heard about brocodes, those unwritten rules between friends, but I want to tell you about a different kind of brotherhood, one forged in a digital apocalypse, tested by endless hordes and strengthened by countless respawns. This is a story of how Call of Duty Zombies accidentally created the most genuine form of male bonding in gaming. Let me paint you a picture. It's 2010 and Black Ops 1 just dropped, and you and your friends stumble upon this thing called zombies. And at first, it seems like a fun little mini game, but something about that raw, chaotic energy just hooks you immediately. And think about your first time playing zombies with your crew, the panic in everyone's voices as the rounds got higher, the desperate scrambling for points, the absolute chaos when someone accidentally opened a door they shouldn't have. That shared experience of what the hell is happening right now, that was your first taste of the bond that was forming. And here's what made it special: zombies didn't care about your individual skill level like multiplayer did. It wasn't about who could get the most kills or the best KD ratio. It was about survival, together. And in that shared struggle, something beautiful happened. Personalities emerged under pressure. You discovered who was naturally the leader, always calling out strategies, who was the resource manager, carefully counting points and planning purchases, who was the risk taker, always going for the mystery box, who was the anchor, the one who'd rather play it safe and keep everyone alive. These were not roles you assigned, they just happened. The game revealed who you really were when the stakes were high, and surprisingly, your friends still wanted to play with you anyway. Now here's where the real bro code started forming. Those high-stake decisions that tested everything about your friendship. Picture this: it's round 25 and your friend is down, the horde is closing in, and your buddy's bleeding out in the corner. Logic says let him die and focus on surviving, but that's not what you do, is it? You risk everything, your points, your weapons, and sometimes your entire run to get that revive. And when you make that sacrifice, something unspoken happens. Trust gets built. Not just a trust that you'll revive them, but trust that they do the same for you. Trust that becomes the foundation of your real-world friendship. Then there's resource management. Sharing door buys when someone's broke, giving up the good guns from the mystery box, letting your friend get the wonder weapon, making sure everyone has enough ammo before moving to the next area. These weren't game mechanics, they were character tests, and your crew passed them over and over again. And the most beautiful part, the communication that developed. You stopped needing words for critical moments. You glance at a screen, a quick call out, and your buddy knew exactly what you meant. Window, behind you, I got points for the door. It became its own language that only made sense to your group. And when you failed, because trust me, we failed a lot, and those countless game over screens taught you something crucial: resilience. Not just in the game, but as a group. You'd sit there in the lobby, nobody angry sometimes, just alright, one more, and you dive right back in. That's not normal gaming behavior. Most games when you lose, there's frustration, blame, and rage quitting, and there was that with zombies, but zombies taught you that failure was just part of the process, and working through that failure together made you stronger. But the real magic happened after the game was over, in those post-game conversations where you dissect everything that went wrong. Like, dude, we should have hit the mystery box earlier. Next time, let's keep one zombie at the end of the round. I think there's a better strategy for this. But somewhere in those debriefs, the conversation would shift. Someone would mention a test they were stressed about, or a family situation that was tough, a girl that they liked but didn't know how to talk to, and suddenly the same problem-solving energy you brought to zombies was being applied to real life. The teamwork you learned in games started showing up everywhere. Group projects in school, where you naturally fell into your established roles, helping each other through tough times with the same no man left behind mentality you brought to revives. Planning hangouts would be the same strategic thinking you used to plan your zombie runs. You became known as the COD Zombies crew, and it wasn't just what you played, it was who you were. And other people would see all together and immediately know, these guys have each other's backs. And there's something different about friendships forged in digital fire. But what's really interesting is that games came and went, and new Call of Duty titles dropped, and battle royales became huge. Gaming trends shifted constantly, and we started to grow up, but zombies remained our thing. And even as you got older and busier and maybe moved to different cities, there was always that text, "Zombies tonight?" And suddenly, you're back online, falling into the same roles, using those same callouts, experiencing that same brotherhood. And I want you to think about specific moments. Maybe it was the first time you hit round 30 together. Maybe it was that clutch revive that saved a perfect run. Maybe it was the time someone actually got the ray gun from their first mystery box spin and everyone lost their fucking minds. These moments became part of your shared history and something you'll never forget. inside jokes that nobody else understood, stories you'd tell for years. Remember when Jake tried to run into that tiny room and got us all killed? Dude, what about when so-and-so clutched that round 40 by himself? These weren't just gaming highlights, they were friendship milestones and proof that you'd been through something together and that you built something that lasted. So what did zombies actually teach us? On the surface, it's just a game about shooting the undead, but dig deeper and you realize it was a masterclass in leadership, sacrifice, and problem solving under pressure. You learn to lead without being bossy, to follow without losing your own voice, to sacrifice for the greater good without keeping score, to stay calm when everything was falling apart, to trust your team even when you couldn't see the whole picture. These aren't gaming skills, these are life skills, and skills that show up in your career, your relationships, your family life. The friend who learned to manage resources in zombies became the one who helps everyone budget for group trips. The natural leader in zombies became the one people look to when real life crisis hit. And that nostalgic pull, it's still there, isn't it? Even today, when life gets overwhelming, there's something comforting about the idea of jumping back into a simple world where the problems are clear and the solutions involve teamwork and perseverance. And in a world where friendships often felt superficial, where people come and go based on convenience, we learned early what it meant to have someone's back unconditionally. Not because it's easy, not because it benefits us, but it's because it's what you do for the crew. And we learned a lot of communication skills that go beyond words. When you can coordinate complex strategies with minimal verbal communication, when you can read your teammates' intentions through their actions, when you can provide support without being asked, those are skills that make you a better partner, a better friend, and a better team member in any context. And looking to the future, I know that even if we never play another game of zombies together, the bonds we forge in those digital trenches will last forever. We've got each other's backs in ways that most people will never experience. We've been through trials by fire, albeit digital fire, and we came out stronger. The brocode that formed in Call of Duty Zombies wasn't written down anywhere, and there was no handbook, no official rules. It developed naturally through shared experience, mutual respect, and genuine care for each other's success. In a world that often tells men they can't be vulnerable, can't rely on others, and can't show that they deeply care about their friendships, zombies created a space where all of that was not just acceptable, it was necessary for survival. Here's to the crew still playing together after all these years. To the friends who taught us that sometimes the strongest bonds are forged in the most unlikely places. And to Call of Duty Zombies for accidentally creating one of the purest forms of brotherhood in gaming. The apocalypse may have been digital, but the friendships, those were real. What's your zombies origin story? Drop it in the comments below and let me know if this hit home for you. Until next time, keep the brotherhood alive.